We're back. Sorry about that. For some reason, the stream was stopped by YouTube. So I'm going to start really quickly, again, explaining the mudra. We're starting today with Bu Mudra, B-H-U Mudra. You're going to take your two hands, make your peace sign, fingers, and just reach down and lightly touch the floor at whatever angle is appropriate for you according to your arm length. So you don't want to lean over to reach the floor, and you don't want to jam the fingers down into the floor if the arms are too close. So just reach out until you can feel that pressure, just a little bit like you're plugging yourself down into the floor. You can alternatively plug into your own legs if you're sitting up on a chair, for example, and can't reach the floor. So here we are. Once you're in a comfortable seated position, holding the mudra, just gently close the eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. And we're going to use our mudra today to access a feeling of being rooted down into the earth. So your fingers are like little roots shooting down into the earth. At the same time, we're accessing energy up from the earth through our fingers into our bodies. So, of course, we're not, I assume, really doing this on the earth itself. It'd be wonderful to practice this outside and be touching the earth itself, but we're touching the floor, which in some way is in touch with the earth. So we can imagine that there is that connection there. So at the same time, the energy coming up from the hands through the arms, all the way to the apex at the top of the head, like a little mountain. And we're going to be using this energy from this mudra to focus our practice today on being grounded. So of course, thinking about the word grounded a lot brings up a lot of different connotations. When you were a kid, maybe you were grounded by your parents as a punishment. In a sense, we're kind of grounded right now. A lot of us having to stay home a lot, or even if you do go out, maybe to work or something, our activities are affected a lot. They're curtailed in a lot of different ways these days. So in some sense, we are physically grounded a lot of the time or constrained. So how do we deal with that? Maybe it's hard to stay at home. Maybe you have that itchy feeling, cabin fever. Maybe it's more emotional or mental, feeling scattered or just all over the place emotionally. That's all totally normal. So we're going to work on some things today that might help you feel a little more grounded and sort of bring everything together. Okay, the mental, emotional, physical, bringing everything together into a more grounded, integrated entity of ourselves. So go ahead and release the mudra if you haven't already, and bring your hands onto your lap and just relax for a moment. And then we'll start to move into our practice. So as I said before, you might want to have your blocks handy. You might have them in front of you. I'm going to start at a little bit of an angle, like so. And as you can see, I have my extra padding under my knees. So you're going to go ahead and just go right into a tabletop position. And I've been working with a little bit of a wrist strain this week. So a lot of what I came up with to do today is actually because I had that going on. But it enabled me to think of some other things we could do that will resonate with this idea of being grounded. So instead of going onto my palms as usual for tabletop, I'm going to be on the knuckles like so. You can try that, or you can just do your regular hand position. We're not going to be here too long because we're going to shift to using the forearms quite a lot. So in any case, you're going to come to your regular tabletop, and then you're going to inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And continuing, inhaling and exhaling. You can go at your own rate. You don't have to stay with me. Just inhaling and exhaling through the movement, finding as much mobility in your movement in the spine as possible, and see how the rest of the body reacts to that movement. How do the shoulders react? How do the hip joints, how does the pelvis react? Anything else that you might notice? The head is going to go up and down. And then a couple more times after your next cat spine. Make sure the feet are pointed and just go right back to child's pose. And rest back for a few breaths in child's pose. We're going to come up. I'm going to move back a little bit. I need a little more space. You're going to come up and we're going to practice really, really briefly an arm position. It would be the same arm position you might use for a headstand. We're not going to be doing headstands. You can do it later if you want, but right now all we're doing is putting our hands into that position, our arms into that position. So the first thing you're going to do, you can do this sitting up to start with. I dream of Jeannie arms, right? So you're holding opposite elbows. So your elbows are not going to go any farther apart than that. I'm going to put the arms down and then bring the hands forward, interlace the fingers. So there's a little cap kind of, or a little cup shape. The thumbs are going straight up. We're going to shift forward just a little bit and start to feel that weight into the arms a little bit. So you want to make sure you're pushing down, the forearms pushing down into the floor. Turn the head, so you're looking back at your knees, and then up to you how much you want to put onto the head. If you have any kind of neck issues, then you don't need to put the head on the floor at all. Or you can just ever so slightly touch the top of the head to the floor in front of your hands. The hands are forming this little cap though. Okay, you're not flattening the hand to the head completely. All right, it's really just kind of the base of the thumb and palm heel area that's touching the head. And the fingers are just sort of cupped a little bit, with a little bit of space between the fingers and the head there. And then you can lightly touch the top of the head. If you have a hair bob or something in the way, you might have to adjust. And just feel how it feels to put a little bit of weight onto the top of the head. You can walk the knees in a little bit. Good. Then you're going to push into the arms enough and come back so your head lifts up. And then we're just going to go up and down a little bit here. So notice I'm pushing up away from the floor, lifting up out of the shoulder, and then I'm letting it collapse down a little bit. Okay? So it's safe to do this in this case because the legs are down. There's not that much weight going into the shoulder area. You would never want to do this, say, if you were really trying to do headstand, right? Because the whole body weight would be kind of going down into that collapsed position. It'd be very, very tough on the neck. So we never want to do this with a lot of weight going forward. But here we're just practicing a little bit. So it might even feel almost like across the top of the back, this direction, width-wise, you're doing kind of like almost a cow-cat a little bit. So try that a couple times, and then you can try putting the top of the head down again if you want, just to feel a little bit of that pressure. And then go back to child's pose and stretch the arms out. From here, we're going to come into a little bit of what I call a floor flow. So instead of coming all the way up into, say, plank or something first, we're going to come to the floor. First, you're going to just come back onto your, you're going to come forward onto your forearms, shoulders over elbows, palms spread, forearms parallel to each other, and then reach one leg straight back, the other leg straight back to come to your forearm plank for a couple moments. Lengthen from the top of the head to the heels, cinching around the core, lower all the way down into your Sphinx pose. So what we're going to do is move from Sphinx to Cobra to Locust with the breath. All right, so you can try to do it with me, or if you need to watch one round first, just check it out. So in your Sphinx, everything's pressing down. We're going to engage the core. Imagine that you have like a little marble in the lower belly, between your lower belly and the floor. And from your, in between, say, the navel and the pubic bone, you're trying to use those lower belly muscles to suck that marble up off the floor, okay? You're going to hold that feeling throughout. So inhale in your Sphinx, and then exhale as you just release the head and neck a little bit towards the floor, not putting the face down, but facing the floor. Slide the hands straight back, and then inhale back up to Cobra. Just a small Cobra to start with. Exhale, release. Straighten the arms back alongside you, and then inhale up to Locust. And then exhale all the way down. Hands forward, fold one hand on top of the other. And take one breath there. We're going to do the whole thing again, then we're going to add a couple more things. So come back to your Sphinx. Inhale. Exhale, release the head a little bit. Slide the hands straight back. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, release the head again. Arms straight back. Inhale, Locust. Legs also lifting up off the floor. And then exhale, bring the hands forward. This time when you come to your Sphinx, you're going to stay here for an extra breath or two. What we're going to try to do, again, keeping that core nice and firm, we're going to stay in our Sphinx pose and try to lift the legs up as if we're doing Locust in the legs. Okay, so just hold those legs up for a moment, toes pointed, not turning the feet out. Make sure the heels are going straight up, and just see, can you engage that hamstring any amount more to lift the legs up? It's very hard to lift them very high. It's probably just barely clearing the floor. That's totally fine. It's not possible to lift that high. And then release down. Now we're going to continue with the flow as before. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, release as you slide the hands back. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, release, straighten arms. Inhale, Locust. And this time when you exhale, try to bring the arms all the way forward and put them back into Sphinx right away. Good. From here, now we're going to add a little bit more. We're going to tuck the toes, coming up to the forearm plank for a moment, and then walk the feet forward to come to a dolphin. So it's a down dog shape with the forearms down. Good. Then from here, drop the knees and go back to child's pose. And take a couple breaths in your child's pose. All right. From child's pose, we're going to do the whole thing one more time. Forearms down, inhale, come forward. Exhale, forearm plank. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, release as you slide the hands back. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, Locust. Exhale, try to come all the way back to Sphinx with the hands forward. Forearm plank and dolphin for a few breaths. Now, from dolphin, the forearms down, we're going to try to transition right into downward facing dog. So, if you need to, you can put the knees down, come to a regular high plank on the arms, and go to down dog that way. If you'd like to try a different way, from your dolphin, spread the palms nice and wide, and just push straight up into your downward facing dog. Or you can do one arm at a time. And then pedal out the feet. And then hold your down dog, pressing both heels down equally, stretching back from the palm heel through the sitting bones. Bend both knees a little bit and start to walk forward towards your hands. Walk the hands back and come to your ragdoll forward fold for a few breaths. So feet apart, knees bent, and dangle down over those legs and shake out the head, yes and no. Taking a few breaths, you can also hold on to opposite elbows. Just letting everything release down over the legs. At some point, just switch the fold of the arms. And then keep a hold of the opposite elbows. And for a few breaths, try to lift the arms up behind your head. So the head is going to stay dangling down. You're not lifting the head. You're trying to lift the arms behind the head. You can keep hold of opposite elbows or bring the hands together, elbows pointing down, fingers pointing up behind the back of your neck. And then try to lift the elbows any amount possible. Good. Finally, releasing both arms. Maybe a couple moments more, shaking out the head. Keep the knees bent. Lift up, straight back, hands on top of your legs, and push yourself up to stand. Good. So here you might have your blocks in front of you. I'm just going to go completely sideways in orientation to the camera. And my dog wants to come in again. She can come in, just come on. All right, here's Oreo again, her weekly appearance. Okay, so you're going to come to Tadasana at the front of your mat, standing up nice and tall. Good. Inhale the arms out to either side and all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, fold again. Get your hands down onto the floor by bending the knees. Get them beside your feet. You can also put them on your blocks if you need here. And step the right foot all the way back towards the back of your mat. Drop that right knee to the floor. Inhale up to your crescent lunge. And exhale, hands right back down. So we're going to shift to Ardha Hanuman. So if you like to have something padding up under that back knee, go ahead. So Ardha Hanuman, we usually do keeping the hands down. Today, we're going to try a little bit different. You're going to try to stay up without using your hands and just push into that front foot to shift yourself straight back. You're facing that front leg. Bring the hands behind you. Interlacing the fingers. Roll the shoulders down and back. Inhale. A little bit of a back bend in the upper chest. You might feel a little bit wobbly. It's hard to hold your balance. And from here, you're going to fold over that front leg, lifting the arms behind you any amount you can. You can put your hands down if you ever need for balance. If it's hard to get your fingers to stay interlaced, or if it's tough on the wrist at all, or the shoulder even, you can hold onto a little bit of strap so it has a little bit more space between the hands. And then maybe you can go up a little bit higher with the hands. Taking a couple breaths there, reaching the head forward towards that front foot. Good. And then inhale, back up. Nice. Okay. And now we're going to come forward again. Hands down, we're going to come to warrior one. Tuck the back toes. Right foot goes a little bit out to the right side, pointing off about 45 degrees. And then inhale the arms all the way up for your warrior one pose, facing forward. Exhale, release the hands behind you. Again, same way, trying to interlace the fingers. We're going to come to face all 10 toes forward, swiveling onto the ball of the back foot. And we're going to come to a little bit of a warrior three. So we're not going to make a big cheese out of it. This is just to get that that back leg working with the hamstring. So you can do a supported if you want to put your hands down in front, or you can keep the hands behind. Push into that back foot enough. You can start to lift the right leg straight up. Again, not turning the leg open, thinking the heel going up. And at any amount, trying to lift those hands up over your back. Good. And then release. Step the right foot forward and come back to your Tadasana at the front of the mat. Inhale the arms all the way up and exhale, fold forward again. Inhale halfway up and exhale, fold again, getting the hands down beside your feet, bending the knees as needed, and stepping the left foot all the way back into your lunge position. Drop that left knee to the floor and come to your crescent lunge on this side. Inhale. And then exhale. You bring the arms down. Let's try to stay upright. Again, try that Ardha Hanuman with the arms behind. So, you want to use that little bit of a strap, you can do that, or interlace the fingers. Push into that front leg, or you can even shift the foot forward if you need to get that front leg straight. Inhale, roll the shoulders down and back. Little back bend in the upper spine, and then exhale, folding forward over that front leg, reaching the top of the head forward, arms going up behind you. And then inhale all the way back up. Hands down, warrior one on this side. So tucking the back toes, straighten out the back leg, and plant down that back foot. Inhale up for your warrior one on this side. Exhale, release the hands behind you, same way again. I'm going to try to come to that warrior three. I actually kind of need to move because my furniture's in the way. I'm going to do it from here. Okay, so hands behind again, or on blocks, or anything for support if you want to have your hands in front. Swivel onto the ball of the back foot, push a little bit, body weight starts to come forward, and try lifting up that left leg without turning it out, and the arms coming back up over your back, any amount. Good. And then slowly stepping forward to come back to Tadasana. Good. Last time, we're going to go to downward facing dog and then dolphin, and try a couple things in dolphin. So from here, inhale, arms up, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold again. And then we're going to step one foot and then the other foot back to downward facing dog. And take a couple breaths. And optionally, if you want to drop the knees and take your couple breaths in child's pose, you, of course, are welcome to do that as well. So, next thing we're going to try is working from dolphin and trying to walk the feet in a little bit more, and then maybe lifting one leg up as if we're preparing for a forearm stand. So, Pincha Mayurasana. If you've never done it before, please do not try to do it from a video. You're just going to try to lift one leg, put that leg down, lift the other leg, and put that leg down. And that should be, I would hope an interesting enough experience, challenge. So I would suggest everybody do that to start with. And then if you're a seasoned practitioner who does Pincha Mayurasana all the time, then you can, of course, do it. You're on your own recognizance. So if you do Pincha Mayurasana, you might practice with the belt around your arms like so. Or if you're not even really sure, you can always try this. If you have a yoga belt that makes a loop, this is good because it keeps the arms from sliding away from each other, which is sometimes a problem in this pose. So if you have something you can make a loop easily, that's shoulder width, no more than shoulder width, because that's the whole idea, keep your arms like so. You could try it, totally not necessary to do it at all. So what we're gonna do is come back to that forearm position that we were doing before. Tuck the toes and lift the legs up. So first you're just in this kind of down dog-like position. Now, if this feels like a lot of work to you, you can just stay here. There's no need to lift the legs at all. You can just stay and work on that. If you want to build more upper body strength, you can stay there and work on this, going from down dog to forearm plank or dolphin. Or you can start walking the feet more in. You're going to be looking back at your feet. You just lift one leg up and put that leg back down. Lift the other leg up and put that leg back down. Okay, so you're just trying what it feels like to have a little more weight up above you with that one leg up. The next step, should you want to try it, I'm going to angle a little bit to do this, is to take a little hop. So I'll show you what I mean. You come to your dolphin, you have one leg up, and then you can be looking at the floor for this actually. Well, it's up to you, either head down or looking at the floor, neck extended. And then a little hop, maybe catching a tiny bit of air. You can try that on both sides. And then, as I said before, if you've done this pose a lot and you know how to do it safely and you want to try doing it, of course, you're more than welcome. You can also try doing it against a wall, which is how, most people learn. So I'm only showing this for people who just need a tiny refresher in how to do it, but it's for people who have done it before. So as I said, if you haven't done it before, it's probably not the time to learn. You're just going to work on that little hop, one leg up, switch legs, other leg up. So I'm going to be using my belt. I'm going to place my forearms down. I'm going to make sure the tail of the belt is not going to be in the way. I'm not going to land up with one foot on it and slide or anything. It's going to be right here. I'm a little bit away from the wall. I don't want my hands right up against the wall. I need a little bit of space, probably 8 to 10 inches, something like that, or more if I'm taller. Then I'm going to come up, and I'm going to come to my dolphin, and I might say, like, you know what, today, this is enough. I don't really feel like doing anything else. And I can just hang out here. Or if I want to come up a little bit more, walk the feet in, one leg up, little hop, and then try to balance a little bit. Whatever you're doing, you're pushing the arms down into the floor. Push, 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 push to keep lifting yourself up. So I'll give you a couple more moments to try whichever variation or modification you would like to for a moment. And then when you're ready, come back down onto your mat and just sit quietly for a moment. So I hope you could feel some of the ideas that I was thinking about when I was planning the class, which is that when we think of grounding into the floor or being grounded, we often picture, standing on our feet. But we can be grounded through any part of the body, and we can be grounded in different orientations to gravity. So this is a different way to experience that. I like doing forearm stand because I feel like this part of the arm is like a big foot. Okay, so maybe you can feel that a little bit. I hope so. And now we're going to come to sit down. I'm just going to be sitting up on a little bit of this folded yoga mat. If you have a folded blanket, something like that, you might want to sit up on it and just come to a straddle, a seated straddle. Most of the work we did was with the legs together, so we're just going to open up the legs this way to finish up. So sitting up nice and tall. Take a couple breaths. You can always have your arms, your hands on blocks in front of you like so. Now, if you're feeling vigorous and feisty, you can do this with the arms behind the back, folding forward as we did with our Ardha Hanumanasana and Warrior 3. Or if you're ready to kind of chill things down a little bit, you can have the hands in front of you. Either way, you're going to be keeping the spine nice and long as you start to fold the upper body forward. Make sure the legs are in a neutral rotation, which means the feet are going up. Feet are lightly flexed and toes are going up towards the ceiling. And try not to let them roll in or do anything odd as you start to fold forward. And just taking a couple breaths there, keeping the head in line with the spine. So as you fold forward, the head is in line with the spine, the gaze naturally comes further down. All right, there's no need to keep looking forward. I'm doing that because I'm looking towards the camera. I really shouldn't. I should just keep looking down in line with the spine. So if you only come down to here, then the gaze lowers just a little bit further away. And take a couple more breaths and slowly walk the hands back in. Good. When you come to lie down on your back, you can still have those blocks handy. You might use them in a moment. First, we're just going to come to a couple bridge positions. So go ahead and lie down with the knees bent. Legs parallel, feet on the floor, arms down alongside you. At first, just keep the arms pressing down, the back of the head pressing down, and lift the chest ever so slightly so you can roll the shoulders underneath you a little bit. Think of the shoulder blades coming a little bit closer to each other, and then lower back down. And then inhale, push yourself up into your bridge position. Thinking of the knees going forward and the chest going back towards your chin. Keep the gaze soft. Don't roll the eyes up towards the back of your head or toward your forehead, You want to keep the eyes soft, maybe even a little bit down towards your body. It's a little less activating for the nervous system. So we usually think of bridge as a back bend. Of course it is. It's also a little bit of an inversion, okay? Because you're lifting that pelvis up above the level of the heart, and the heart is going above the head. So a mild inversion also. I also like to kind of do this a little bit of a wave back and forth. Very slightly, don't go too far, you might fall over. Just a little bit of letting the knees rock back and forth here. And then slowly lower all the way down. Take a couple breaths here, and then we'll hug the knees in. Hold on to your right knee and let the left leg come straight out on the floor. And just take this into a little bit of a twist. Okay, so the right leg, you're going to hold on with the left hand and just bring it across. The right arm reaches back behind you. Right shoulder comes towards the floor as the right knee comes to the floor on the other side. So that neither one has to touch the floor. They both might be a little bit off the floor, or you might sort of toggle back and forth between the two a little bit. And then roll onto your back. Bring both knees in again to start with. Then hold on to the left knee. Right leg comes down and go into your twist on the other side. So stay in your twist a couple more breaths. And I'm going to come up. You say a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, come out of your twist and stay on your back, hugging both knees in one more time. I was supposed to be playing music during the class, and I got a little flummoxed at the beginning of class because we had a little bit of a technical glitch. So I forgot to start the music. I'm going to play it now as we finish up and during your Shavasana. So please let me know how it sounds. It's an experiment to see if it is audible through the live stream. Okay, it'll be a little bit louder in a moment. I'm just adjusting it slowly, or hugging the knees in. Just slowly lower the legs down to the floor and let them straighten out onto the floor. If you're at home and want to do any other variation of Shavasana that you know, you're more than welcome. I always like to recommend putting the legs up on the couch. If you're close to the couch, as a sort of super comfy chair Shavasana, or if you're happy lying flat on the floor, go ahead and lie flat on the floor. And then let the legs relax. Let the feet roll open any amount. Bring the arms out a little bit from your sides. And for today, let's turn the palms down. As long as that's comfortable for your shoulders. We'll take a few centering breaths to begin Shavasana. So inhaling softly through the nose and exhaling softly through the mouth. So continuing. Few rounds of centering breath. After doing your centering breath for a few breath cycles, go back to breathing in and out through the nose, but otherwise keeping the breath very soft. Checking in with the face, soften the face, let the eyeballs drop further down into the eye sockets. A couple moments, just wiggle the jaw back and forth to release any tension you might be holding on to there. As we become more still in Shavasana, sometimes we have a sensation of the body becoming heavy. If you start to feel that sensation, just encourage it any amount you can. Of course, you're not becoming more heavy. You're just feeling the effects of gravity a little more clearly than you might when you're busy throughout your day. So go ahead and let that force that's always there, holding us down to the earth, let it just become a little bit more part of your consciousness instead of trying to fight, trying to lift up away from it all the time. And continue to just let the floor support you. Keeping the breath soft. Scan through the rest of the body to make sure there's no hidden pocket of tension. Finally releasing as much as possible. Holding the position with as little effort as you can. prefer to stay in your Shavasana for longer, please do so. If you're ready to come out now, start to wiggle the fingers and toes and slowly bring a little bit of movement back. And when you're ready, bend your knees and roll over onto one side and come up to any comfortable seated position. Bring the hands together to Namaste or Anjali Mudra. It's also Mudra. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any comments or feedback, please let me know. I'd love to know if you can hear the music or not. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Namaste.